with their physical body and they're ready to cross over, they are they're off journeying for quite a bit of time before they actually do cross over. So I I don't know that they actually see like a rainbow bridge, but what they see is that bridge to their ideal world. Yeah. So, yep, stepping away.
Yeah.
So if we take that idea of sort of having a contract in this relationship together, what another pattern that people can sometimes tell or see is um, that they are trying to solve a problem about something and may have other ways that they can go about it, but they get stuck. And so the pet comes in and helps them get unstuck from that moment. And
Nice.
yeah, yeah. They so they have that they feel like is a responsibility for us, being the ability to help us respond, right?
Right. So I'm glad you brought that up, and I do want to talk about communicating with animals on the other side too. But I want to bring up past lives, and I imagine you have come across lots and lots of cases of animals being with people through other lifetimes, and they come together because they're, our animals can definitely be soulmates for us for sure, and so they've agreed to have different lives together as well, different bodies. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, absolutely. And what's so interesting is that, and so in my experience of communicating, I would start to hear these messages that these pets could take pieces, parts of their souls, which would terrify a human. A lot of, right? Like, would that belief system can make people really uncomfortable. But from a pet's perspective, they could take this part of their soul and say, I want to learn more about being creative. So I'm going to be part of this next reincarnation and have that be sort of my goal, my sole purpose is I'm going to help my person and together we're going to be more creative. And then when I was doing some research, and I always listen to podcasts or read books or listen to people write around animal communication because I mean, why
Sure,
not?
it's what you do.
Right? Yeah, why not? And what I was hearing regularly from other people were that, these pets could take pieces of their souls and go and do this. And I was like, oh my gosh, so I'm not crazy. And it's and it isn't, and it's healthy. And that uh and that they not just reincarnate their wholeness back in again to say, let's just do the same thing over again, but they tweak it and they identify like, okay, let's switch this a little bit. Let's tweak that a little bit. Let's add a little more salt or pepper and, and experience this life together. And I
Sure.
think that it's such a beautiful experience. And so then people end up with, pets that know things that they haven't even trained them on before, but they inherently do it. They have pets that challenge them in ways, right? That the person recognizes, like, yeah, I need to work on that, and we can do that together.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that. And I've learned, what I understand is we all have an oversoul of different personalities, which we know, I guess we could call them pieces of our soul.
Mhm.
And we take that, animals included, take incarnate into different life experiences. So even though we had another life with that animal, and I have animals that I know I've seen lifetimes with them where we've had different types. They've even been in a different body. I've seen animals where they were a horse and a squirrel with me, a pet squirrel, dog, a jaguar. So there's different, we can take on different forms. The animals can take on different forms with us, just like we take on another human form
Yeah.
or
Yes.
any other form, if we're talking about other planets and stuff. So it makes total sense to me that and I just see it as a personality, an aspect of our soul,
Yeah,
another
yeah, yeah.
aspect. Yeah,
Yeah, okay, an aspect. That's it's a good way of putting an aspect
yeah,
of the soul that goes through. And the and what's also interesting too is that I've had communication sessions with pets that have um, lived more than one life with a person in that earth space.
sure.
So um, they validate that by, saying, I'll say, oh, this, cat or dog went missing for 2 or 3 days when they were about 9 years old. Is that right? And they're like, yes. How'd you know that? And it's like, well, I don't know. They shared that with me, but they're saying that was their first part of their time with you. And then they spent the second part of their time with you. And the first part was doing this work with you. And here's the second part that you guys have done together. And then, of course, there's those that um, needed that for some reason came back quickly. And so then their lives are shorter and we don't get to see them to their adult years for one reason or another. And just recognizing that, yeah, that they either had something that they needed to finish or something that they were starting, right? And
Right.
which of those things that might be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You may just want to be together. Um, yeah, the dog I have now, I'm positive that she was a dog I had earlier in this life. Not that long ago, really, 20 something years ago. But there's a movie. Have you seen the movie about the dog that dies and keeps coming, trying to find his his companion, his human companion,
I
human.
haven't. I
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, it's called, God, I think it's called A Dog's Life or A Dog's Journey or something like that. But,
Okay.
and yeah, I won't tell you the end, but it's
Okay,
really good.
yeah, don't please. Yeah, no. I'll need to, yeah, I'd love that.
It's really good. Yeah, totally. He ends up trying to find his way back. But let's talk about, that's a good segue for talking about animal spirits on the other side.
Yeah.
So what is your take on animals and when they pass? Um, are they as afraid of death as we are, or how do they see transitioning? How do they see, is there really a rainbow bridge? And can they communicate with us from the other side? All that
Oh my
questions.
goodness. So they are um I when I've been with a pet that's been passing, they're not afraid. I have worked with one or two that were really young and they were afraid about what passing was going to mean. And so we called in some guides to help them with this. And actually, what's interesting is in both cases, they weren't going to be passing. They like recovered and went just fine. So went on just fine. So I was like, well, that's interesting. They're like, the pet was like, whoa, whoa, it's not my time yet. It's kind of like,
Yeah. Oh,
you know.
wow.
So but for those um, that are ready to pass for one reason or another, whether it be a disease that they're, done with. Generally, they're done with the human body or their physical
Their
body. I'm
body.
going to say, yeah,
Yeah.
they're done with their physical body and they're ready to cross over. They are they're off journeying for quite a bit of time before they actually do cross over. So I I don't know that they actually see like a rainbow bridge, but what they see is that bridge to their ideal world,
Yeah.
right? The place that they want to be. And they they are they already get a indication of what that world's going to be like for them when they go. So, and then they get choices for what kind of work that they'd like to do. So oftentimes I hear from a pet what they're doing as a job. And that also, so I just want to speak for a moment about for the human when they lose a pet, whether it's by natural cause or if they choose euthanasia, right? Or if there's a traumatic event, it it doesn't matter which way they pass. Humans carry so much guilt.
Yeah.
And so one of the most important pieces of understanding that when pets cross over, they are in this space where they're so happy. They're not in need of anything. They can right choose to do the things that they want to do, and that everything happened in the way that it needed to, right? But it's hard. We all have to go through our grief process and hopefully bring ourselves back to that understanding, and maybe some more grief and bring us back to our understanding. But we have to know that there's all a bigger purpose that occurs. And that is important because they pets that have passed will often share with their caretakers, their humans, that when we were together, I was able to open up your heart, so then you can now go do this. Or together, we recognize that we could be stronger or more, brave, or whatever those pieces are. And so it was important that we went through and did that process. The what was the piece that just kind of kept coming to me? So we're talking about going through that process. Oh, and so when you see pets that are not being treated as well as you would treat a pet, let's say, um, it can be, in your heart, it could hurt. And there's a
Yeah.
couple of things to keep in mind. And one is that pet, I believe in my heart that pet knows what its soul contract is for its time on this planet. And even though it's not what we would hope for or want for that pet, for some reason it's fulfilling something for someone or another pet.
Well,
Also,
what about, thank you. What about Marla? Say we're seeing a pet being abused, an animal being abused.
yeah.
So we should still step in perhaps and see if we can take and I mean, I'm just asking you too. Is that something that we should just let play out naturally? Or
No,
you know what I
I'm
mean?
thinking more like, you're driving down the highway in a strange city and you see this dog or something, and you're like, it was not the way I would have wanted it. And so what I always send out is love and light to that particular pet. But then I also ask those guides and those guardians that are out there, because there are packs and crews and herds of these spirit animals that go and serve those pets as
Sure.
well, to go
Yeah.
and support them and be there and to love them. So yeah, no, if you yeah, helping
Right.
to
You're
shift.
talking about something different.
Yeah,
Something
if you
different.
can
Yeah.
help shift a bad situation, like
Right.
certainly
Okay.
help to shift it. And even while you're shifting it, asking for that help, and those guys and those spirits that are on the other side, that are there to serve those pets that are not, are being mistreated or what have you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have there was one dog that had been transported from Southern California up to Oregon as uh, for rehoming, and they come up in a van. And so this particular dog had passed and said, all right, well, I'm going to be in the van working with these pets that are being transported, to let them know, like, here's what's going on. This is what it's going to look like. Here's the process, kind of like your tour guide, right? And your processor to say, okay,
Right.
here's how things work. Um,
Cool.
yeah, so they can have jobs on the other side that really fulfill them and make them very happy. Of course, I talked to another dog that said that she is out. She's like in cities shopping, in like shopping districts. She's like spends her time window shopping, and 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 then the coolest part about it for her is, she says, and then if I don't like the weather anymore, I just go to a different place.
The dog
And
is
she said, some
shopping.
people see me, oh,
You're
the dog called
okay.
window shopping, and
Okay.
just, yeah, just like,
Was it a
living.
little poodle or something?
She is a littler dog. Yeah.
A little, yeah, a little foo-foo kind of dog. That's so funny.
Yeah, I
I'm
know, right?
kidding. Yeah.
Yeah. And but it really matched her personality from, a
Yeah.
different human that I had talked with. And then, but she's like, and the best part is that if I don't like the weather anymore, I can just, I can just transport myself to another place.
That's so funny because when I take my dog to the groomer, she hates it. I've never had a dog that likes the groomer. And I saw when I took her one time, there was a man with these two little little white fluffy dogs, and I don't know what they are, but they were just so cute. And they love the groomer. They love going to the groomer. He said, "Oh, they get so excited when they come here. They just love it here." I'm like, wow, my dog, I've never known a dog that loves the groomer. So it sounds like that kind of dog maybe that would be all
Yeah,
shopping for
yeah.
nice little doggy clothes or something, or
Yeah,
for the best
she was
treats,
always, yeah, she always sat up to, yeah.
high end treats.
Yeah, 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 for
That's so
sure.
funny. Do you ever find that animals sometimes take on the personalities of their people, or vice versa, maybe? Sometimes you see
They, yeah,
people like that.
they do. Yeah, they do take on the personality of their people. What an interesting story about that. So I had a gal that I was working with that said her dog was very reactive, and that and it started off being with men with authority.
Mm,
But she didn't tell me that part. She said, I have a pet. She's very reactive. So we took a minute and we connected, and I said, what is it about men with authority? And she said, yes, that's where it started. And the person said, I really don't like men, like authoritative men, right? And so that's something for her human to kind of be working through. But because her person agreed in the beginning that, when the dog said, I don't like this person, and the human said, yeah, neither do I. Or actually, not even sure which one started it, right? The
right.
human said, I don't like that, and the dog said, we don't like it. Okay. And so anyway, and then the human said that was okay to the pet to want to feel that way. And so it started to creep into other types of people. And the person, unbeknownst to them, kind of supported the dog into that until it got to be too much.
Too protective.
Right. And then it was like, oh, hold on, I have a reactive dog. And so yes, dogs definitely tune into our emotions, our needs,
There
and
you go. Our stress.
our stresses. Yes.
Yeah.
And we have to be very careful for many reasons, to help them to understand that's our stuff, not their stuff. And that's just kind of one example to let them know, like, I
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable with this. That's my human thing, but yeah, you're safe here.
Or just clean up our stuff.
Yeah, we have to clean up our yeah.
We clean up our stuff. We don't have to worry about it. Our
Right.
animals being being
No,
psycho or
right. No,
dramatic.
no problem. Easy.
That would solve all the problems, right? We clean up our own stuff, our animals would be fine. But I mean, that's what Caesar says, right? He says he trains humans and
Well,
rehabilitates.
there's pets. That's right. Exactly. Yeah, there's some.
Yeah, totally. It's always the human. That's my take anyway. Yeah, so for people who have lost their animals or are watching
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
do you have any comforting words you can give them?
Yes. So, when so I have people who will come and say, how come my pets I'm going to speak to those people that feel like they don't have that connection with their pet anymore. The ones that are like, oh yeah, I feel like my pet comes to me at night, or I see it,
Yeah.
whatever, right? So I'm going to say, I love that. I'm so glad you get to experience that, and, stay with that. For the others that feel like they're not, that, they've lost that connection with their pet, and that they want to know why doesn't their pet come visit them more often. Couple of things to think about. So one is back to that simplest message that you might receive. Make it the easiest, just knowing that they may not come to you in a dream because that might be really hard for them to do. Like that might not be their thing. So, but instead they're trying to get through to you because there's a certain scent that you have, or you see a certain bird or a certain plant that that particular pet really loved, and that reminds you of them. So open up your mind to what other experiences might be available from that pet that's passed. Okay. And so that you don't, and just try and break down that belief system or that expectation and be open to, yeah, to where
Right.
they, how they might connect with you. And just know that they are part of your tribe. They're a guide. And ask them, even if you don't feel like you're connected or you don't feel their presence the way that you feel like you should, recognize that they are part of your tribe, and call on them because that's what they want. Yeah.
I also feel like a lot of times our animals are still with us doing things that they did when they were with us because they wanted to be with us and they enjoy and they love us. And so there's just because they're out of the body doesn't mean that they're not hanging out with us still. It's just they're more their life is more expanded, their experience is more expanded, but they still want to be with us. And I've experienced that
Yeah,
with
we
mine.
have a we have a space that we would walk our dogs in. And my husband specifically would walk them every day, take them over to this place, go around a pond, they'd walk around a pond. Sometimes I'd have the chance to go with them as well. And then this one time we're walking around and I felt a dog just hit me at the calf level, right? Not in a bad way, but just rub up against me. And I was like, whoa, like, okay. And then I knew that was Jenna.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh, how beautiful. And that was that, just that one moment. And that was her way of being there for that moment. And it was just, yeah, it was absolutely beautiful.
nice.
So yeah, yeah.
They'll definitely let us know. They will, as long as we're open and trust it, right?
Trust it. Yes, yes. And let the ego go. And
Right.
again, the easy thing to do. Take care of
That,
all of our stuff and let your ego go. We're in the world of be.
that darn ego. Okay. Well, Marla, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for chatting with me.
Yeah,
Can you
absolutely.
let people know how to get a hold of you?
Sure. So if you anybody that's curious about this, you can go to my website. It's the number four pet talks. So that's, PETTALKS.com. And there's information out there about services, testimonials, how it works, some resources and information. And then, of course, I'm really looking forward to having some courses available to help those that want to, spend some more time and tap into this.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, through the
And Marla is featured on the Academy website. You can find her there as well. And stay tuned for her course coming up in March. I'm really excited about that. And we'll do some live stuff too. And
Yes,
yeah,
I would really love
beforehand.
to. That was so much fun to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, totally. Okay, we don't have a date yet, but we'll do that soon. So stay tuned and thank you everyone for watching and
Thanks,
have a
Sharon.
good day. Thank you, Marla.